All right, there we go. So we're on YouTube and we let me turn this other down. We're on YouTube and we are on Instagram and Trading View. Hey Sydney, how you doing, sweetie?
Hey guys, welcome back. Doing good.
Yeah, so I think we missed what last Thursday, right? It was it Thursday for last, or we went? No, I think
Yeah, it's been like 2 Thursdays.
okay. It's been 2 Thursdays. It's been busy mama season, right? But that's what Forex Moms is, right? Sometimes we are going to be busy, but I think that's okay. You know, like when I think about like what we're doing in our lives as far as trying to live life or living life, figuring out who we are as women, um, growing up as women, evolving as women, we wear many titles. I mean, a lot. This morning, I was talking to a friend here. She's a nurse, and her husband's actually in the military. He's deployed. And she was just saying how, sometimes she feels overburdened with work. She's a mom, she's a nurse. She's the chauffeur to her child. Her child has games and everything, so she has to go to the games. And then we have to go to the school tonight for open house and all these things. Hubby isn't there. It's not his fault that he's not there, but he's working too. But when we wear these titles, our feminine energy can get thrown off, right? We become emotional, we become unstable, and sometimes that's really not good because we don't get to relax, we don't get to just be in the state of being. And that can affect our money, right? Because as traders, we're entrepreneurs and our heads have to be in the game. Business does not care about feelings, right? So today, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how to make money using your feminine energy and your 5 love languages. And I'm really excited to talk about this. Are you, Sydney?
Yes, I think it's definitely needed. I haven't ever heard anybody talk about what we're about to talk about, so
Yeah.
yeah, we get into it.
Yeah, in the realm of trading, they've not talked about it. But
Yeah,
and hey to everybody who's joining us, whether you're on TradingView, YouTube, or Instagram. So I can see Instagram over here. Now, with TradingView's Instagram's up here, I can see the YouTube comments down here. So if y'all see me looking everywhere, it's because I'm trying to see everybody. Hey, Jacoby, what's going on, sweetheart? So I like to listen to a woman named April Mason. She teaches women. She used to have a dating boot camp where she would help women find their Mr. Man by teaching them how to be more feminine, right? I don't think she does it anymore, but I know she has an app. And I sometimes think about joining it, but I'm like, I'm married. What can I learn? But I can still learn. I'm still young, right?
Mhm.
But the little tips that she gives on feminine energy has been so amazing. And in the 5 love languages, I learned that from a church we used to go to in New Mexico, about just how what my love language is, what my husband's love language is. And if I'm being honest, we've not really operated in the gifts of each other's love languages until this year.
Mhm.
And now I relate it to trading, right? But let's compare it to relationships really quick because that's where we hear it, right? In our culture, I like to say that we live in a toxic culture, a toxic generation where we put these expectations. Now I'm just about to talk from the woman's standpoint. Micaiah said she's excited for this conversation. I'm excited too, Micaiah. So I look on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that because sometimes we ain't got no lives, but I like to listen to the different ways that women think about relationships and how men think about relationships. I know we kind of have a background in psychology, right? That was actually one of my first majors before I dropped it. I know you're always looking up things related to psychology, right? And then with us both being married women, so when I start listening to people talk about relationships, especially as millennials, it's like they have this long expectation list, especially the women. And what they're doing is they're pre-qualifying the man before they maybe meet them or when they're in their dating phase, right? They're looking for the man to fit a specific role. He has to make this much amount of money. He has to be a tall. He has to be an alpha. I don't want a beta or a simp. Like he has to be all these things, right? Um, but what I realized is before they get with the man, they're actually failing. Like the man has already failed if he doesn't pass this specific test or this specific standard, right? And then the woman quickly moves on to the next. I mean, it's her prerogative because she's in the dating phase, right? But in reality, I think what the women are really trying to say is, I want to find a man who can help make my life easier. But they don't know how to communicate that. What do you
I
think?
think I think also too they're basing their expectations off what everybody else wants.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like especially if we're talking about relationships, I think like the thing now is you want other people to kind of be jealous of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want somebody to want your what you have too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you want him to be, 6 foot and have money and
Yep.
can cook and
Yep.
like all of these things. And it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, no, like I feel like the biggest box you should be able to check off your list is that he loves and listens and cares about you.
That part. And that's important when we talk about it and we relate it back to trading. Let me answer this question real quick on YouTube. To one, we're gonna get into the trading part towards the end because we need to tie this topic into what we're talking about. Because we also have personal lives when it comes to trading, and this is going to mesh very well. And I like what you're saying. Before I met my husband, I was used to dating tall guys, right? My first love was tall. He was a jock. He ran track. He played basketball and football, right? Then the next guy that I dated, I think he was around like 5'10", 5'11". The next guy I dated was around the same height. And it's funny because they both kind of looked alike. Then I met my husband, right? My husband is like 5'5", 5'4", one of those. I don't know. But he says the inches matter because he's taller than me. Okay, cool, right? That makes him feel better about himself, and I'm so happy about that. But I realized through our marriage that because he was short and our friends are taller, that he had a complex. And, that kind of hurt it made him insecure. But I will always say, I'm not married to you for your height. If you were still tall, I would treat you the same and I would hope that you would still love me the same. Right? I'm looking at the quality of your heart. I'm looking at your innocence. I'm looking at something that you don't have that can make my life easier. And it was the same way for him. I'm 6 years younger than my husband, and my insecurity was our age difference. I was 18 when I met him. He was 24 and already established. And I'm like, I don't know why you want me. Like, I can't bring, like, how people say now, I don't bring anything to the table. And he's like, yes, you do. You bring me peace. The fact that you like me, the fact that you love me for who I am, the fact that you don't see my height, the fact that you don't look at me for what I have. You're bringing something that other girls were trying to take away from me. You're adding value to my life, right? What about for you and your husband, like in the beginning stages?
Um, so it's actually funny. My husband's like the same height as your husband,
Yeah.
and but Elijah, like he was bound to go to the NFL. So like
Mm-hmm.
he's around San Diego, especially like he's very well known. He won like the biggest award you can win for, an offensive player and all of these things. And so, but his height was like always brought up, especially when you're talking about football, where they do
Mm-hmm.
have that same criteria, like no, you need to be this, 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 and this. So he kind of felt like he always like felt fell short, no pun intended, like with
Mm-hmm.
what their expectations were, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
was like, man, like my husband, he is so handsome. So I actually told
Yeah.
him, it's funny, like a couple months ago, I was like, if you were tall, Elijah, I was like, the fight I would have to put up like on a daily basis. I was like, so you're perfect to me. So,
Yes.
so yeah, and kind of just um, being able to express like my own insecurities. But I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to ask you, like,
Mm-hmm.
what does feminine energy even mean to you?
Mm. Okay, so to me, it's the state of being. When I look at like an ocean or current, there's a flow. There's a natural force before the flow, though, right? The flow depends on the wind, the temperature, like how the water will feel, and all of that, right? When I think of an ocean, when I think about leaves rustling, there needs to be wind, or the leaf is going to stay still. So to me, feminine energy is just allowing me to be relaxed and to go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's how I see it, right? um yeah, like, what about for you though, because I want to go deeper.
I really like that. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like now I'm going to add that to my definition of what
Mm-hmm.
feminine energy is. But my definition is, I guess, just tapping into like feeling beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
like, and feeling powerful and feeling safe and loved and like all of those things that I guess make you feel good. Because I know as moms, we're superheroes, like point
Yeah.
blank, period. Nobody can tell me otherwise because I'm able to tap into how my son or my husband or just anybody, I'm able to tap into how you feel. I'm able to feed you. I'm able to nurture. Like I'm able to do all of these things, which
Mm-hmm.
that's powerful. Like not everybody can do that.
That is
So,
true.
yeah, that's what feminine energy means to me. Just staying, like you were saying, staying in that
Mm-hmm.
state of mind of uh, self awareness.
Yeah. Self-awareness is key there too. Jacoby said, I feel like most relationships don't work because most people don't know their love language, which is very true. We're going to get onto that as well, and don't know how to love themselves. And she said that was a good question. She was just thinking that. So in a relationship, I think, as I said earlier, women are seeking to be taken care of. They want a partner that can help make their lives easier. And I kind of broke this up into pieces here, right? One of the ways is monetarily. Now, the generation and the age, the era we live in, the women are doing the dang on thing. So I don't think money is at the top of most women's list anymore. However, this is about to go back to the toxic culture now, the toxic generation, the hurt culture is what I like to really call it. Oh, he has to make six figures. Well, why does he have to make six figures? And I think if women would more, if women would expound on why he needs to make a specific amount, or in their head why that amount is important, the man can be more understanding. But instead of beating the man down because he doesn't have it, if you know this is a man who you're going to journey through life with, explain how you can both get to the six figure mark, unless the woman is already there. You see what I'm saying? I
Because
can't. Oh, go ahead.
I'm big on like double standards.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you expect that of somebody else when if you don't necessarily have it? And are
Right.
you willing to build to that with that
Mm-hmm.
person? I think that's the million-dollar question.
That part. Now I know it's a difference if the woman already has it and she wants her man to follow suit. But is that the necessity? Or is that what you're trying to be? Because we live in an age of social media. Is it something that you just want to show off and flaunt because maybe your friend has it or social media has it or whatever the case may be? Because now we're living in the era of I want to be liked on social media because I'm going to flash my life in front of them to be approved, to seem like we're an approved couple. You see where I'm going? So yeah, so that's one of the ways I think some women want to be taken care of, which it does help. Like, let's not get it twisted, because as a man is to provide, that helps make her life easier and his life easier as well. We got to look at physically as well. Women want to be taken care of physically. They want to feel warm. They want to feel loved. They want to feel seen. It's nothing worse than a woman laying next to a man and not knowing if she loves him or if he loves her, right? Like, that's the biggest thing for a woman. If a man is to be respected, if a man is to be respected, a woman has to be loved, right? And then we have sexually. A woman wants to connect with her man and to feel desired and to feel wanted. Because I think another reason why we live in hurt culture is because cheating looks normal.
Yeah.
Just saying. Cheating looks normal now, right? When I listen to hurt people, that's the topic. You have OnlyFans out here, which people do the dang thing on OnlyFans, right? You have porn that's easily more accessible than what we had when we were younger. Social media makes it easy for you to DM people and keep it a secret. Snapchat can just be tossed away within 24 hours, so other people are now easily accessible. Then we have mentally, which is where I think the feminine energy sits at. That's like the middle there, the most powerful part of being working in your feminine energy is the woman needs to feel at ease. Her emotions need to be stable. But as women, we're already emotionally and unstable creatures already. There's not much a man needs to do to make us unstable. Our hormones are going to already do it for us, right? And then sensually, I think it's behind mental. That's something that we don't talk about a lot. Our senses, the nurturing side of us, our wisdom, our grace, our mind, our playfulness, our easiness. Growing up, a lot of women have been over sexualized. I was over sexualized. I'm not sure if you went through it. You get catcalled, you get touched at by little boys who don't know how to keep their hands to themselves and all of these things. And so then you kind of grow up not trusting when a man says you're pretty because you think he's going to want something from you. You don't trust when a man really comes to you and say, ma'am, I just want to say that you're looking beautiful, because once again, you're going to think he wants something from you until your mind is untrained from that. You see where I'm going? So I think like that's like a full circle there, right? And I don't know why I'm doing this like a car wash. Uh, but to me, when a woman is at ease, she's now operating in the masculine, right? Yeah, so that's how I also look at feminine energy. But also the thing is, Sydney, is that for me, I think when I see women working so hard to make a man fit the standards, in my mind, somewhere in her past, a man let her down, and she kept adding to those unrealistic expectations that she has, and that's why it's so hard for her to find a suitable mate for her.
Can we talk about dads?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that's a big. So even just speaking for myself, right? Like I didn't have. I was adopted by a single mom,
Yep.
so there was no dad in my life whatsoever. So that kind of translated into not only how I saw myself, but how I saw like, boys slash men, right? Like I didn't know what the red flags were. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how should I be treated. I didn't know how they should be talking to me. Like
Yep.
all of those things. And I think especially, I've talked to my husband about this. Like when we started dating, I kind of tried to put him in that dad role. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I need you to do this, 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 and this.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to come to that realization that that's not his job,
Mm-mm.
realistically. Like that was a role for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So just understanding that separation. And I know we talked on our call yesterday about, we tend to repeat or tend to stay comfortable in the environment that we grew up in as
Mm-hmm.
kids and try to replicate that. So if you're used to, like your dad being abusive or, calling you names or all of these things, you tend to go and look for that outside of your home because that's
Yep.
what subconsciously makes you feel comfortable.
Exactly. And yeah, and it still transfers as well too. But once again, is when you search for those things outside of the home, when you're not used to having things that are supposed to be good to you, when you go into the world, when you go out into that, when you open that door and you leave, you set expectations for what look different from what you were used to, right? But we do the same thing in trading. So let's talk about that part now, like how we transfer that information into trading, because I think this has held a lot of people up from making the money that they want. I think we set unrealistic expectations in the beginning of our trading careers, and I do mean like the first 2 to 3 years of our trading careers, right? So we say, well, when you see that someone made money, or they quit their job, or they bought a car, or they bought a house, or they're on vacation, whatever the case may be, you perceive their life as good. So in your mind, you're like, yeah, now I'm gonna quit my job. Now I'm gonna make $10,000 a month. Now I'm gonna learn all these strategies. I'm gonna join these groups. I'm gonna prove that I'm the best. I'm gonna prove that I can save my family. I'm gonna prove I can be the provider. And now you go into competition, right? And then you get ego, and you jump into it without knowing what the heck you're doing. You didn't nurture yourself into it. You didn't slow yourself into it. And I have seen this happen a lot, Sydney, right? And then what happens is you go into, that's the masculine energy, because we have to talk about that side as well. So masculine energy is when you're in the state of trying to achieve, when you're taking action, or you're taking risk, right? That's the masculine energy of this. Someone asked, he's from Africa. He said, how do you deal with males who want to be mentored by you as women? I'm gonna get into that towards the end as well, because this goes into love languages. All right. But I kind of want you to ask it a different way, because I know now this is cultural basis. Okay, now this is culture. We live in America. You're in South Africa. This may be a different conversation, but we're gonna tie this in. Okay. But I think for women, or sometimes men too in general, when we operate in the masculine, we can go into being anxious and being in a worrisome state of mind when those expectations that you set for yourself as a trader does not happen. Sydney, when I hear people say, Shaquan, I should be profitable by now, I have an issue with that statement. Why now? Why that's the question. Why now do you think you should be profitable? Right? So I want to dig deeper on that. So my question to you, Sydney, is like, when you're operating as a trader, right? When do you think you're using your masculine energy, and when do you think you're using your feminine energy?
So for me, I wanted to add when we were talking about masculine energy for me is order.
Mm-hmm.
It's set. It's concrete. Like there's no gray areas. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, our strategy TMP for me, that's where I'm able to, I guess, exercise my masculine energy because I'm able to check off all of these things and I don't really leave too much room for feminine energy until
Mm-hmm.
after the trade plays out. Because
Mm.
trade is never over until it's over.
Yeah.
And I don't, the only time I move my stop loss is I'm moving it to break even.
Mm-hmm.
I never, ever, ever take profit early
Mm-hmm.
because usually, like, that's just one of my rules because I used to hate like when the trade would go my way, and I'm like, why didn't I just hold it?
Yeah.
Right, just being impatient. Um, so I forgot the question, but yeah, that's when I exercise my masculine energy, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what makes me feel good. And then after the trade plays out, either I'm happy or like I'm able to pat myself on the back
Yeah.
because trade hit TP,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm still able to pat myself on the back if I hit stop loss because all my rules were still met. And that's
Yeah.
when I'm able to exercise my feminine energy.
Got you. Um. Okay, mine's gonna be kind of threefold. As a trader, let's start with her first. So, as a trader, when I'm analyzing, when I'm researching, when I'm setting up my trades, when I'm at my desk to build upon my setups, I'm in my masculine energy because I need to stay focused. I need to think logically, right? Like I'm thinking with my left brain at that time, and I cannot be distracted. I cannot get I have to stay focused, right? Because I'm in the act of doing something. That can be a very financial breakthrough, right? At that time, I'm thinking of myself as the provider, especially with being married. Like I am the contributor with my husband in this household, right? And so if my focus is broken, let's say because we have kids, by my children, I can kind of get a little salty there, right? Because now I got to go be mom. So now the dynamic shifts from masculine to feminine. Now, I can also be feminine as a trader. So you know how I talk about like your trading environment? Like I have music playing in my background, right? Because it calms my spirit when I have something playing and it's soothing, right? Or if I come buttered up in my favorite lotion and I'm smelling good, maybe I have a candle, it kind of puts me at more ease and I'm able to just kind of go with the flow, right? When I got my nails done, my hair is done, I'm at my charts and I'm like, ooh, I feel good. It's just I'm back in that relaxed state of mind. Yesterday in our coaching call last night, we also talked about Van Thorpe. And what he talks about of how do you see yourself as a trader, right? How do you see yourself when you're making money? And I mentioned that he had an exercise where your posture dictates the way you're going to place a trade. If you're hunched over and you're breathing hard, you don't look your best, you're not going to trade your best. But if you step away and you envision the way you want to look when you're sitting down to actually trade, and then you come back and you act upon how you saw yourself, you will make better trades, right? And so when I'm more relaxed as a trader, not working my feminine, when I place that trade and when I let the trade run, that's when I make more money. So I'm with you on that one. um
Actually, I
yeah,
wanted to add on that.
yeah, let's go.
I actually had written something in the notes. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, when/how can we use our love language to our advantage, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it kind of goes along what you were saying.
Yep.
So really what we're doing when we're tying in our love language to our career, right, is we're
Yep.
making trading work for us. We have to make it positive. We have to make it a pleasing experience. So
Mm-hmm.
if maybe you know that, so the 5 love languages, we have acts of service, physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, and receiving gifts,
Yes.
right? So if you know that your love language is receiving gifts, buy yourself some flowers, put them at your desk. I
Yep.
actually started doing that, and it just like it brings life to my desk,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes me like feel good to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It just it adds something different.
It does.
So if you know that your love language is acts of service, I wrote down you can clean up slash decorate your trading space, right?
Mm-hmm.
So spruce it up again along the same lines. Make it that you actually want to be there, that you're actually enjoying the space.
Right.
So if you know that your love language is physical touch, maybe you want to go like hug on your kids, hug on your husband or whoever before you get on the charts. Go get a massage. Just tap into that physical touch,
Mm-hmm.
right? If your affirmation is quality time, maybe either having a deep conversation with whoever or watching a funny video or an inspirational video before you sit down to kind of put yourself in that mindset of you're at ease, right?
Right.
And I think this can go for all the love languages, and I also recommend it. So if your love language is words of affirmation, then you need to affirm yourself, right? You need to
Mm-hmm.
speak life into yourself and what you
Mm-hmm.
do. So one of the big reasons why I passed my FTMO challenge was because every day I was writing myself little love
Yep.
letters on my whiteboard, like, you got this, you're the best, you're killing it, like, look at you out here, just all of these things, right, to hype myself
Mm-hmm.
up. So yeah, those are my little
Yeah.
tidbits.
And I love that too, because think about what we did with Swiss yen, what we did with AUD CAD, what we did with New Zealand dollar, what we did with AUD New Zealand. We were able to, being our masculine, to look at those setups, and there were long term trade setups. We're actually still in AUD CAD, and she's really good in profit, right? But the other three ended up taking profit, and they were longer term swing trades for us, right? But we let the trade be. We didn't move the trades to break even until they were at a certain point. We let the trades run to take profit. We weren't gawking over the trades. We weren't babysitting the trades. We weren't worried about every little pullback, because we actually set our charts up in case price pulled back to protect and cover ourselves, right? That is the state of being when you're trading. And we only worry about it emotionally when we have the outcome. And that's something that I do teach you guys inside of the group. Don't get emotional until the trade plays out. Because if you get emotional while that trade is running, you're going to make a mistake. And we talk about the three risks. The first risk is you already have a stop loss on your trade. So that's the first risk. The second risk is what happens when you never take the trade. And the third risk is what happens when you could have made money, but because you touched the trade, you risk losing out on the full profit. And that's something I don't hear a lot of people talk about either, especially coaches to their students. Why are we talking about these three risks? Because no one ever talks about the risk of not being in trades and the risk of touching the trade too early and not taking a full profit. Something, oh, I'd rather take a little profit than none. Screw that. When I operate in my masculine energy and I see that target, I want price to hit that target. You know, it's like being an archer. You don't shoot an arrow just to say, well, if it made it 3/4 of the way there, that's gonna count. No, it's not gonna count. That makes no sense to me, you know. And so we have to be the same way if we really want to make more money when we're trading and operate in that feminine energy, to let the trade be, to let it flow, to let it go and go rest. Now I love how you tied the love languages into this as well, because we're gonna talk about confidence next week. So I think, because actually Jacoby just said it. She said she came face to face with the fact that she had issues with her dad, and that had a big impact on her relationship. And I'm so glad she mentioned that too, because when you're in relationships, people, if you're in here, you're married, or you have a fiance, or whoever you're with, your significant other, right, friend, whatever, in order for you to be confident within your trading capabilities, in order for you to be confident as a trader, I really do honestly think that you need to know who you are and how you want to receive when you're in a relationship, and what you can give when you're in a relationship, because you'll do the same thing in a trading relationship. Because for one, you can't control the person you're with, just like you can't control the market that you trade. You have to adapt. Okay. So for me, my top two love languages are physical touch and quality time. My husband's love language is acts of service and physical touch. So we already know, and I'm loving what you said about how you broke down the acts of service and what the traders can do to, kind of work in that. Before I come to my desk, if my husband is home, I'm jumping his bones. I'm just gonna let y'all know that right now, right? Because I can't focus without a release. I'm just gonna let y'all know that. And I think that is when you really know who you are. You understand things about you. When I'm having a great trading week, I want to be around my husband. But when I'm not having a great trading week, you guys, he sees it and he knows it. He knows I'm gonna want to be held. He knows I'm gonna want to be touched. But he also knows I need me time to think it through. And guess what? Even though words of affirmation is not my strongest love language, he's going to affirm me. So, Sydney, that goes back to what we talked about earlier, the expectations. I don't expect my husband to affirm me, but it does make my life easier to know that he's in my corner, to know that he's my support system, and he wants what's best for me, and he's able to operate even though that's not an expectation. You see where I'm going?
Can I ask you,
Hmm.
is that something that you think that he learned or developed over time, or is that something that you think he saw his parents already doing?
No, his okay. I love my in-laws. I mean, my husband talk about this a lot. But they are not a lovey-dovey couple. His mom and dad are not lovey-dovey, and they're married. They've been married for a really long time. They don't go into deep conversations as far as what we see. We don't see it. He didn't see it around him. Deep, deep, deep conversations. My husband grew up very private, right? When I got with my husband, we could have 5 conversations in 5 minutes because he ain't going deep with the conversations, right? But it's something he learned being with me over time. We've been married for 12 years. We've been together for 14 years, right? We've had to learn each other. And in the beginning, we both had unrealistic expectations because we trauma bonded. We both had trauma and we bonded over the trauma. So we set unrealistic expectations and we fought until we both realized, hold the heck up. We are two individuals who have to live life together. So here's where love language is important as well, but also understanding your own feminine energy and him understanding his masculine energy. We have to balance each other out. We have to talk about what we expect from one another, but understand if there's a need he can't met, it needs to go be supplied elsewhere. I'm gonna explain that in another session though, because that may be taken out of context. All right, because we can have part 2, part 3.4 on these on just these conversations alone. But what we realized, Sydney, is that my husband's also in the military. I can't do my husband's job for him because he's very masculine. My husband can't coach for me because this is my gift. Now it's going to go back into the question that the person asked. How do you deal with males who want to be mentored by you as a woman? The men who come to me are respectful. That's number one. The reason why they're respectful is because that's what my energy gives off. I've always given off that energy, even when I was a younger girl. You will respect who I am. You will respect my intelligence, not my body. I can be a pretty face, let it be that. But when we go and you learn and you understand who I am, it's because you know I'm smart. Okay? I've always been that way. So when a male wants to be mentored by me, there is no ego here. There's none. Now I understand in certain cultures, men, and I've actually had men from South Africa come to me and say, "Wow, you're smart for a woman." I've literally had them DM me that. I could be offended, but that's their culture, right? But I get the respect that I need from my people. But once I start talking to them, it's like, listen, I understand that you're from another culture, but to say that to me is very disrespectful. And here's why. Now I'm going to communicate with you why that is disrespectful. Some of my clients, they end up calling me respectful names. Like I have one, his name is Wayne. He calls me Coach, Queen Coach. Is it Queen Coach or Coach? Queen Coach. That's what it is. Queen. He always call me Queen Coach. Like, what's up, Queen Coach? I'm like, oh, yo, what's up? So I end up matching the male's energy. Some men who I teach, if they're shy and timid, I lower my voice. I have one gentleman who's a pastor. We end up praying together. You see where I'm going? So what I do now, I'm operating on the masculine and the feminine side when I'm the coach, because I have to learn some of my men need to be nurtured. If I hear their voice crack, or when a man says, I don't know, Sydney, that sounds off an alarm in my head. When a man works his job, do you honestly think he's going to say, I don't know my job? No, a man is to provide. One thing that men pride themselves on, they're great workers, right? And they're going to operate in being great workers. And guess what? I don't know is never an answer, or they're going to go find out. So when a man comes to me and says, Coach, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, or I don't know this, or I don't know that, my job is not to attack him. My job is to gently guide him to get the answer for himself. You see where I'm going? So I match his energy. So yeah, that takes time, like how you just asked. That took time for me personally to know who I am. That took time for me to learn how to study people, but it also took time for me to develop relationships with people, which is why I don't sell courses anymore. That's why I directly teach everyone, not through video, but just like how we're speaking right now. because I don't want there to be any blurred lines.
I think going back to that question,
Mm-hmm.
because I can see where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the question was like, do you find yourself having to like set those boundaries? Like, do you find yourself having to
Mm.
overstepping those boundaries? But if I'm talking for
Mm-hmm.
myself,
Yeah.
like just my intellect and what I feel like you would see
Mm-hmm.
is because people are coming, you already established yourself and your credibility, on YouTube, all of
Yep.
these platforms, and they're paying you for a one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they come into the one-on-one on some other stuff like, oh, let me shoot my shot?
You'd be amazed. You will be amazed at how many do shoot their shot. I'm just
On
saying.
one-on-ones. But like after they get shot out the sky, is it like, okay, now let's regroup, or is it like,
I'm not disrespectful. Sometimes I play along with it in a respectful manner though. Like I'm not one of those one. Okay, so now, okay, I've never been to a club in my life. I never. I have never been to a club in my life. Right. I've been to bars. If I get touched by a man, if a man grabs me, that's disrespectful.
this is
I go off. Oh, I'm gonna touch you back. That's how I look at it. That's disrespectful to me because you have no business and no right to put your hands on me. We can speak from a distance. Right? Give me 6 feet. But males do shoot their shots in my DM from time to time, but this is how they do it, and I love the way they do it. They say, I just want to let you know I think you're amazing and I think you're beautiful. Like, depending on what I post on social media, someone like, dang, you smart and you thick, or you're smart and you're beautiful. I take that as a compliment because guess what? My husband tells me that too. you know so they're not telling me anything that is new. Now let's talk about the feminine energy on this side. I think when women lack in a relationship, any man can come and say, oh, you're beautiful, and they just gonna take it like, oh, for real, and they're gonna want to hear more of what that man has to say. For me, I can say thank you and keep it moving because I don't operate in lack in my relationship. You see where I'm going? If I feel like my husband is not doing what he's supposed to do, and even in trading, if I feel like y'all have seen me regroup a lot of times when I'm trading. Y'all have seen me overcome. Y'all have seen a lot. When I'm ready to make more money, I'm like, yo, this is exactly what I'm going to do. This is my game plan. I've given you my game plan. You see where I'm going? I'm not quiet about it. And I think if we related back to trading, this is why having a trading strategy is very important because your strategy has to tell you when you are in lack, when you are losing trades, when you are not making the money that you want to make, you need to step back. Why is your energy off? Because of course your energy is going to be off. And what has it off? Sometimes it could be the numbers, sometimes it can be stress. It's something that probably has nothing to do with what you're trading. It could just be the market. Now you yourself have to just figure out, okay, let me shift gears here, right? If I shift my gear, how can I, make a comeback?
yeah,
And I wish more people would talk to their coaches about this because sometimes people suffer in silence, right? I've seen it happen a lot, even in our own group, where people only want to reach out when they're in the drawdown, or people only want to reach out when the account is almost, depleted. And it's like, okay, well, you had the open door policy to come to me before. Now let's go into the masculine energy because sometimes most of these people are the men who don't come to me. It goes back to, but I'm supposed to be the provider. I'm supposed to know the answer. I'm ashamed to say I don't know.
man, I need to tag team you with that because
Mm-hmm.
even if I'm speaking for myself, right? Like I have an FCMO account, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't go more than 10% in drawdown, or they'll take your account from you.
Yep.
Um, I went down 8% in drawdown,
Mm-hmm.
and you understand like the stress and the anxiety and the frustration
Yep.
all in one, like that came over me because
Mm-hmm.
as of right now, that's what I'm helping my family with. Like that's what I'm able to provide right now.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, I'm like, I already lost the account. I'm not going to be able to provide for my family. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what I'm going to do. Like all of these things, right? And how do you trade that? Like,
Yeah.
what does that look like on your charts? It looks like you dropping down the time frames. It looks like you
Mm-hmm.
jumping in and out. It looks like
Mm-hmm.
you risking less or risking more.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I did reach out to Shifan, and you would think, right, like, oh, professional traders, they got it all together. They no, like, we are real people with real emotions, with real
Yep.
minds. Like, things happen. And
Yep.
so, you have to just, like you were saying, kind of step back, come to your senses, away from the charts, figure out what you want to do, how you want to do it, why you want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
come back. So what I did was I reached out to you, I let you know, and I think too, once you just put everything out on the table
Mm-hmm.
and say, this is what's going on, like, can you please help me?
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a release too, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, even in your family, they don't know what the heck's going on with you. Like, they don't
Right.
trick you, they don't understand drawdown, like what.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't really confide in anybody else. But when you come to a coach and you say this is what's going on, and there's no judgment on the other
Mm-hmm.
end, like, oh, well, you shouldn't have been doing that. It's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's use our masculine energy to come up with a new game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Let's execute it, and then let's reevaluate together later on.
But I also feel like we used our love language. We had quality time together.
Yeah.
I used words of affirmation with you. I didn't come down on you and say you did this wrong. I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
You allowed me to look at your account. You allowed me to look at your metrics. And I looked at every trade with you. And I flashed through everything really quick, but I was able to look at the dates to go back to see what happened. If I had a question, I answered it gently because you are already in a fragile state
Yeah.
as a woman that does not feel good. And you're also, like I say, you're married with a child, and in your mind you are the contributor. You're working this out with your spouse. You also have to realize, like, when we're in a relationship, how does our partner look at us
Yeah.
when we had these expectations that we are not meeting right now? And
Yeah.
what does that conversation sound like? And so what we did was, I sat and ran three options with you, but I say, hey, which option sounds best? Do we go with option A, option B, or option C? Now you're instead of being 8% down, what are you down now?
5.
5. So you've gained, and that was what, 2 weeks ago? About.
Yeah, it was like a week and a half.
Yeah, that
It's
was
really
you gained more than 3% back.
mm-hmm.
And so now all we need is that 5%, and you can do that in the next couple of weeks, probably in the next week, depending on how the market moves. Baby, you'll be back to break even and in profit quickly.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going? But all it takes is for you to say, okay, let me, because I like what you said earlier. A lot of people think when they look at us as professional traders, oh, you have it all together. I can't control that market. You know, all I can do is do my best. That's all you're doing. You're just doing your best. That's all anyone here who's listening to this is doing. You guys are sitting here doing your best. But while you're not on that chart, I think that's what I care about more in your life is what are you not doing on that chart? Because I know we talk about relationships, even in our community, we talk about real life situations. We talk about past trauma and past hurt. Y'all, the way that me and Sydney are sitting here talking, we talk like this in our community because we are not robots. I
And
actually care about my people.
we only, with our strategy,
Mm-hmm.
especially during the week, if it's not Sunday, we're only on our charts max 15 minutes.
That's it.
So, like, we have a whole rest of our day
A
to
whole
go.
day. Right. And with my people, I'm like, okay, if you're not okay on the chart, we need to, or off the chart, we also need to talk. Because if you're not in a restful state of mind, something is going on in your life that's going to throw your energy off.
Yeah.
Your wife may not deserve it, your husband doesn't deserve that, your children don't deserve that, you don't deserve that. And so we need to get your mental state back intact. Now, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I can't do that always for anyone, but I can be a sounding board and a listening ear, you know. And so going back to what the person asked me about, how do I deal with males, I treat them like a man. Let's talk about Kurt in the group. Kurt trades cryptos. Kurt has this running joke when he comes talk about his cryptos. All right, coach, don't beat me up too much in front of everybody. I want to let y'all know she beat me up behind the scenes. And he says that all the time. And I'm like, I'm not gonna get you this time. I'm not gonna get you today. All right, coach. I'm not gonna talk how you want me to talk, coach. But this how I see the charts, right? That's how he always says it. And I'm like, yo, listen, Kurt, and I have to tell everybody, y'all, Kurt gave me permission to talk to him a specific way. Okay. This is me and Kurt. That's me and his relationship. But if I go to a person like Mr. Anthony, I look at Mr. Anthony as a father. So there are some things I'm not going to say to Mr. Anthony that I can say to Mr. Kurt. But Mr. Anthony, raw with it. You see what I mean? When I talk to the women, let's say like Miss Kim reminds me of my aunt, but Miss Kim don't play no games and she is no nonsense. When I talk to Miss Brenda, I look at Miss Brenda as a mother figure. Miss Brenda, she be like, child. I'm like, yes, ma'am. you know so as a coach, and our community is small, because I do want to answer Tawana's question. Could I explain our Forex group sessions in our platform? Right, we are not a big group because I actually want to know who I'm talking to. I can't talk to thousands of people at one time in that community. I just can't. I want to be able to call out your name and know who you are and know what you need. I want you to be able to say my coach is accessible, right? Because I am accessible to everybody who I communicate with. As long as they're engaging and they let me be accessible, I'm not a nosy person. I don't dig into nobody's life unless they ask me. And it's just like Sydney. Sydney has made herself accessible to everyone in the group. When they want to back test, they go to Sydney. Sydney is very meek. Sydney is very mild. Sydney is quiet. But Sydney has amazing, beautiful energy. Beautiful energy. And she's always willing to help. That's why I love this girl, because she's always willing to help. And I put her in the forefront, right? I know, most trading groups and coaches, they want to be in the forefront. Not me. I tell Sydney all the time, I want to be behind the scenes. I want my head down, you know, but that's my personality. And that shines through on the charts until I become coach.
And I think I know that's what separates you from like other coaches, because even if I'm thinking about my like network marketing days, your like coaches, they seem so untouchable. Like, how am I supposed to, if I talk to you, I'm stuttering, like I don't know how I should approach you. Like, it didn't feel personable. Like, it didn't feel like I could tell you, me and my husband are going through this and it's affecting my trading. It didn't feel like you'd be able to help me with that.
Yeah.
But because of, you being so tapped into both your masculine and feminine energy, you're able to and even just our role in banking, right? Like, we have to match people's energy. Like, I need to match your energy in order to be on your level. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I'm saying I need to meet you where you are so that we can have the same conversation.
Right. You know how many people we work with in the bank who came to our windows every single day, and our energies change per person?
Bro, be nice to your bank tellers.
Yeah. Because some people ruin their days, right?
Oh my gosh.
So we make more money, as we stated, when we hold our positions. We make more money when we're not in fragile states. I actually lose more money when I'm rushing. And I'm like that in real life. If someone rushes me, I forget. Maybe I forget a shoe or something. I don't know. But I do forget things, right? And so for everyone here, think about the people who you come in contact with every day. Because she's right. We were both tellers at banks. And once the person comes up to your window, when you say hi, that sets the presence for how your conversation is going to go.
Man, it's like 30 seconds, and you feel the energy.
Yep.
And then you know how to address this person. If it's a regular, and you're like, oh, he's not tripping, like he's really cool. Or if you have just like a jerk who's no, you'd be trying to act busy so they can go to the next person. Like,
you know what's crazy? Because I don't know if you've experienced this yet. When I go into consultations with traders, for one, these are people who I've never met before. They've seen me on YouTube, right? I have to match their energy as well. If I get into a room with someone who's hype, I'm hype with them. If I get into a room with someone who's shy, I have to scale back, if I get there are some people who are dry. They're just very, very dry people. Is Micaiah on here? Because she's the funniest one I can use. And we always use Micaiah. Micaiah, me and Cindy always talk about you. Because y'all from New York. You remind me of my husband. Not y'all are not dry people. You're just very blunt people. You're straight to the point and you don't say anything after your statement. Like I can say something to Micaiah and she's like, "Yo, that's what's up." And she'll just look and then she'll laugh. I'm like, that's it. you know? And so for me being a talker, for you being a talker, you're like, oh, it could be awkward sometimes, right? But I think that's what's gonna make you a great coach, with the role how you're going to play and how you're going to go, and it's how you're gonna help make people a lot of money. Everyone here, even men, has feminine energy though. It's just a state of being. So you guys, when y'all are placing y'all's trades, when y'all are having your trades run, when you're able to just walk away from your chart and let it be, you are operating in feminine energy. Don't have an emotion though until the trade plays out. Think logically. Why did you get into the trade? Why was it such a great trading decision? How will you feel about the outcome? See the outcome as always positive. We talked about doubting last night. Don't doubt the trade, because when you start to doubt something, that comes from your childhood. Someone put it in your mind that you're not good enough. Someone put it in your mind that you're not going to be great, that you're going to be a failure. You are not a failure, because you're trying something that most people in their lives won't have the balls to try, right? And if you fail multiple times and you're still here, that makes you a fighter. You keep fighting until it freaking works. Okay? That's what I want to say to you guys. And then use your 5 love languages off the charts, right? If you're with, like, the 5 love languages, it's not for you being on the chart. It's to help prepare you before you get to the chart. It's to prepare you after you're off the charts. Okay? I told y'all, if my husband home, I'm dropping his bones, which is how I feel. Okay? I can't concentrate without that release, but I know that about myself. I want his hugs and his kisses and his warmth. I like my kids to be around me. But it can also work opposite. If I'm not doing good in trading, I just want to be held. I don't want sex, right? If my kids are around and I'm not doing well, I can't have my children around me, because I know my energy is going to be off, but they don't deserve that. Okay. Uh so hey Kai. Veronica says, I was a bank teller in college also. It takes a special person to deal with people. People get stressed about their money and financial situation. Dang, you know what's crazy though? So I just what's her name? God, I forgot her name yesterday. Oh God. But I just talked to a woman who worked in mortgages, and she was saying how even working in banks helped her with being a trader too. I honestly think working in banks, it's powerful how that transfers to trading, you know. Um Especially with what she just said, people get stressed about dealing with their money and their financial situations. We do that a lot here too, every day, every single day. Hey, Miss Joy, how you doing? Kaya on, she said hey. Yeah, but I don't got nothing much unless everyone here has questions or something. I do
one more thing I wanted to
no,
add.
yeah, I got one more too after you.
After we're talking about matching energy,
Yeah.
right? So you need to match your pair's energy. Like,
Oh
and the
yeah.
way that you do that is by knowing your pairs. So if it's a volatile pair, you set your pending orders. If you know sometimes it takes a long time and there's consolidation and it lingers, you get patient because you are in a relationship with all of these pairs, and you get to know them. Like, yeah, we're gonna bump heads sometimes. Yeah, my trade's gonna hit stop loss, but you're gonna make me money at the end of the day. And if you're gonna make me money, then we gotta be like this. Like, I have to know you.
We got a
So
thing
yeah,
going on. I'm so Me
yeah.
and you are in sync, because I was just about to talk about currencies. I was talking to Sydney about the four that I'm really thinking about just staying on for the time being, and just really focusing on those four. I trade everywhere, you guys. But there's an opportunity, I'm going for it. Like, my people know that it's hard for me to stay focused on just one or two pairs. But I really do want to focus on these, because I'm glad you brought up volatility. The four pairs that I'm really focused on, I can trade them in and out on the monthly, weekly, daily, and 12 hour. Because with the way that these currency pairs move, when they're moving down or moving up, they trend very well on that 12-hour time frame. So I know as long as they're trending and prices moving, I'll have a trade once a week or once every other week on these pairs. And I want you to listen to what I just said. I said once a week. Okay. That means every pair should give me a trade once or twice every week or every other week, which means I'm not trying to overtrade and trade them every single day.
And
All
that's
right.
1 in 5 days.
That part. That part, right? But that goes into what you said, and it goes back into confidence. Because I do want to have a conversation about confidence next week. I think the reason why people lose confidence is because they came into the market with these expectations and it didn't work the way they wanted it to. And what they didn't do was take time to know their pairs that they needed to trade. And I've traded so many pairs over the years that I just know how every pair moves. But it's time I specialize now, right? Like if you look at people like Q Banks has US 30. His friend Drew has GBP JPY. I'm not a person who can just sit here and focus on one. I just can't. That's a swing trader. That's just myself personally. Um, but they've specialized, right?
Mhm.
You have people like Whitstone Lau who specialize in gold and GJ. Now, mind you, these are scalpers and day traders. That's not who I am, and that's why I made this statement about I can't do one pair. So I'm also understanding my trading style. Sydney understands her trading style. My people understand their trading style. My community has one trading style, and we don't move from that. I don't go from that. Okay. Veronica asked what pairs are those. Okay, so I don't mind sharing it now since I shared my game plan with Sydney. She had to be the first one I shared it with because she holds me accountable. So we're accountability partners. So my four pairs are AUD USD. I love that pair. I've been trading it since I was a beginner. AUD New Zealand, New Zealand dollar, and then EJ. And it took me a while to figure out which yen pair I wanted, but the yens trend well. Matter of fact, in our group, most of our people caught multiple yens for hundreds of pips. AJ was one that who was in that one? Mr. Hayden for 500 pips.
Well, I called it. I called it after, like I was watching it, but I don't know who else got it.
Yeah,
But it was a 480 pip run.
that was a good run we called. We called that months ago. EJ, I think Ajane was on point with her entry.
Mm-hmm.
And she should have just took profit on hers. Because remember when she and I were talking about that when we were in the group, I said, hey, if it gets to this point, move it to break even in case it goes higher. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm praying that she did that. So we have Ajane who caught that one. GJ, we're actually still in GJ, right?
Oh yeah.
We're still in GJ. We're still holding her going up. Let's move her to break even, okay?
Oh, she's been moved to break even.
My girl, see, this is why we rock. Okay. UJ. UJ was beautiful. I didn't get into that one, but we called that one months ago too, because on the monthly time frame, she pushed off of an inside bar.
That's so nice.
That was dope, right? That analysis is on point. I love that analysis. That analysis is on point. Um, what's the other one? Swiss yen. We just took profit on Swiss yen. That was a good call as well. So Swiss yen was a really good call too. Um, yeah, so it's just figure those out. I love EJ, go GJ. Yeah. Hey, Miss Brenda, I'm praying you catching that GJ because I know that's the only one you really trade. Hey, Miss Brenda. So yeah, so we use that masculine side to take trades. But let me add this one thing. I need to talk about this. Like I said, this could be another call. This is more of a personal. I think this is more of a personal Forex Mom's call though. I think that feminine energy and masculine energy works in steps. You guys, we would not be here without our spouses. Let me just cheer them up real quick. Let me give them a big ups. Okay? We would not be here without them. Big up. Like my husband like to say, because he's from New York, it was all a dream. He'll sit here and rap that whole song, honey. But we wouldn't. My husband made it okay for me to stay home and trade.
Mm-hmm.
He made it okay for me to be a coach. As a matter of fact, sometimes he comes to me and says, Shaquan, you cannot go back to a 9 to 5. You would not be happy. He can't sit here and just stay at home and work from home. He would not be happy. And so we respect each other's boundaries on work. We've set healthy boundaries and expectations to say, hey, if you can't meet these specific expectations, let me know, because that means that I need to go find these met somewhere else. I have to preference this. This is not a cheating thing. This is not another man or woman thing. This could mean, let's just say my husband he's really not an entrepreneur. If I needed help or if I needed sound business advice or whatever the case may be, he is not the person I can talk to. So I don't expect him to be on my level with that kind of thinking. I'm not in the military. I cannot sit here and have military talk with him about his, I don't know what you call all these things. He needs to go find somebody else in the military to talk to. You see where I'm going with that? And so we don't set unexpected expectations on one another. So we respect those. Um, we walk in our love language and then we cater to the other. When me and my husband eat, y'all, if he throws his plate away, if we're on plastic plates, or he puts his dishes in the sink, I get mad. Now that may seem small. That that might seem small, but when he get up, he always looks back at me, and I just look at him. He's like, "Okay, you got it, you got it." He cannot stand when I do things without his help. He can't. There was something I was doing, and I can't remember what it was because it just happened the other day. Oh, I had to look something up. I asked him first, but then my left brain said, "Shaquan, just go look it up." And I looked it up. I'm like, "Oh, never mind. I found it." He's like, "Man, I really wanted to help you." You know what I did, Sydney? I turned around and said, "You know what? Forget what I just did, babe. Can you please help me?" I redid it, and he helped me like it never happened. You know, um, so I cater to his love language, and he caters to mine, right? Um, he understands my masculine side of trading, and it's the biggest part. But he makes it okay for me to stay feminine. He's okay with saying, "Babe, you go rest." You know, Shaquan, you need a break from these charts. Shaquan, you like your naps. Go take your nap. I got the kids. You see where I'm going? So over time, Sydney, it's developed his love language, but also his masculine energy developed. So now we have a balance. But it didn't start until year 12. Okay. Veronica says, correct, our husbands have to support us. Exactly. Some women who I speak to don't get that support. And that breaks my heart. Now, I will say this. I do question some women sometimes because I ask, it's not sometimes the support. I think it's the understanding that a man needs, right? Because I talk to some women and they're like, "Man, my husband says if I don't get this, I have to stop." Well, why does he feel that way? Oh, because I'm losing money. Well, why are you losing the money? And can you articulate that to him so he understands? And if you're losing money and it's your personal finances, let's make a plan, a game plan, so you don't lose your personal finances, but you keep him in the loop too. Can we sit, me and you, and do that together and present it to your husband?
Even if it's demo.
Even that, like, go back to demo that. This is why I said in the beginning, like in the first 3 years, the expectations need to lower. That's when your expectations lower, so does your confidence. But your confidence will go back up when you achieve in small steps. Because see, sometimes we get the big head and we want to go for the big goals. We want to go for the jugular. It's like a doctor trying to cut somebody open and they didn't even read the book. They didn't even practice on the dummy first. You know, no, no. My money is important, and so is my body. You see what I mean? 23 years in the army, about to retire, and I learned how to trade before I retired. That is so beautiful. That's so beautiful. That's so dope. I wish more people in the military learn how to trade. As a matter of fact, some of the people who I went to school with, they've actually learned how to trade, and I think that's so beautiful. They're like so amazing. It's so amazing.
It's interesting because I'm kind of the opposite. Like
Mhm.
everybody who I started trading with doesn't trade anymore.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I think that's okay. I think it's okay to try it because trading isn't for everybody. And if it's not for you, I think that is okay. My friend David was the same way. He started trading with me. Now he's making a lot of money in real estate. He started to wholesale real estate. And I think that's so amazing. He found his lane. I stayed because I really love trading, but I love
But I
coaching
definitely
more.
Yeah, too. Once I start promoting myself as that
Mm-hmm.
coach, I know a lot of them are going to want to come back because,
Yep.
especially because their whole thing was like, oh, the financial freedom, the
Mm-hmm.
flexibility, all of these things, and even more so with swing trading. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's something that was never promoted in my network marketing group.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was always like you had to be on your charts to make money.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-mm.
that's not true all the
Not
time.
doing that. I'm not staying on these charts. No. My chart's not even open right now. Like, as because, a matter of fact, I'm off tomorrow and I already have pending orders. That's so beautiful, right? I already got my pending orders already set up. So I don't want to be a slave to these charts. I don't want to feel like I have to come to the chart to be busy to make money, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. And I think that goes back to the why. Why are you trading? And if one of those was financial freedom and to spend more time with your family,
do that.
do that. My mom, I'm gonna say this and then we can go, sweetie. Um, I was talking to my mom yesterday. My mom said, Shaquan, just make sure whatever you do in your business, you have more family time than work time. She told me
Mhm.
this the other day. She said, don't, because I used to be a busy coach. I used to be a busy trader. And it did affect my family. It did affect our personal time. And my children always had this joke, and it wasn't a joke, but they would always say, Mom's working. Shh, mom's on her computer. I was overwhelming myself. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to teach other people how to do that either.
Yeah.
You know?
And my closing remarks that I want to
Yeah.
say is, tap into that feminine energy, especially on the weekends. Like take
Mm-hmm.
advantage of Friday, Saturday, and if you don't trade Sunday, do not look at a chart.
Mm-mm.
Do not like close trading view because that's my favorite thing to
Mm-hmm.
do. Like I like to have my self care Saturdays, and
Yep.
then on Friday we just, I'm off, so me and the family we just do whatever the heck we want,
Mm-hmm.
and that's your reset because every week you
Yes.
should be able to come back with a different. I told Siobhan we need to celebrate at the end of the week, whether it's
Yep.
like a ritual cheers or something, because
Yep.
not only do we complete the week, but we're able to come back next week.
Yep. Yep. I before I coach people one on one, I make them close their charts. For from the time you say, Shaquan, I sign up with you for our 6 weeks to the time my first session starts, one of my rules are you cannot look at a chart, take a break, and detox. That is my biggest rule. One time I taught my trading style in 3 months to a group of people, and it took us it was a 2 week break before I started. And I said, hey, take a break. One person got upset with me. He said,
Mm-hmm.
well, why are we not learning for 2 weeks? Because you just came from a company that was over trading, that had too much information. You were burnt out. Do you really want to start learning something else again right now? Because what you're going to do is try to compare my style to your old style, my ways to your old ways, and you're not going to focus and listen because you're going to compare. I don't want you to compare. I'm trying to detox your mind and help you unlearn so you can fully accept what you're about to do and be better. You see where I'm going? Who is this? I don't know who this is. We don't do stocks over here, sweetie. He says short every stock, also short every IPO after the stock. Easy money, family. Yeah, we Forex over here. We doing Forex. We buying and selling different things. I use Saturday. Miss Brenda says I use Saturday for mindset and meditation, and that's beautiful, Miss Brenda. That is beautiful. That's what it should be for, though. I can't, y'all gotta teach me how to meditate, cause honey, my mind be everywhere, y'all.
That was a practice.
That meditation,
Yeah. Like I used to be able
yeah.
to meditate and like really sit and like, because the whole thing about meditation is to not control your mind being empty, but to let your thoughts come and go.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing. But it's like if you don't practice it, it's kind of like muscle memory. You lose it.
True. Hey, Sydney, can I use my Saturday to just play video games?
Man.
Me and Makai just want to play video games. That's all we want to do. Call of Duty, PUBG. I don't want to do nothing else but play video games.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, but that's the truth though. You know, I don't know. I don't have a mind that can just sit and rest. I'm learning to though. I really am learning to. But that's how I found out I had ADHD. One day I was on the sofa, I had just took a nap, and I woke up and my mind literally raced, and then I got anxiety. And I looked at my husband and I said, "Do you think I got ADHD?" Because then I started doing 50 other things, and I never went back to the first one. And I realized my whole life I had been doing that. I was like, "Let me go get that checked out." So yeah, that's how we keep it simple. But Kaya laughing at me. But anything else, you guys? Because if not, I'm I feel like it's something I gotta do today, but I can't remember what it is.
Did you eat yet? You don't be eating.
I know I don't be eating. Did I eat? I did eat. Oh, thank you for saying that. Let me write that down. I gotta do Instacart. Thank you. See, my people know me, man. My people know me. I love y'all. I really love y'all. Y'all are amazing. See, y'all, when you let people into your life and you nice to them, this is what you get. Okay? This is what you get. But yeah, you guys, so we're gonna stop here. Sydney and I will be back on next Thursday. I'm excited to talk to you guys again. I really want to do something on confidence and then we tie up into something else. We are opening up a Forex Moms group for women. Sorry, men, but this has to be for women only. But we'll still be here for y'all too on our live streams. And y'all know I'm gonna go live and teach y'all some information on the charts, right? But we are getting all of that information together slowly but surely. It is going to be amazing. And if you guys need help on your charts, make sure you reach out. SLFX Trading. All the information is in the description. I love you guys, and we pray that y'all have a blessed weekend. Talk